All right, good morning, everyone. We want to be respectful of your time, so we will go ahead and get started. My name is Tanae Reek, and I'm one of the program managers at Eastern Iowa Community Colleges in our continuing education department. And I am pleased to introduce to you today Brenda Meeker, one of our trainers and instructors. She has some great words of wisdom to share with us today about how to help manage our days. So, with that, take it away, Brenda.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tanae, and thanks for joining us today. I'm happy to be here to talk about this topic, which is pretty highly requested. It seems we all have some opportunities to work on managing our days. And when I think about some of my best days, at least time-wise, I think about the days where I'm like super focused, getting stuff done, and I look up at the clock and it's time to go. And I was in such a groove. I check things off my to-do list. I feel really good about it. And, but now I have to shift gears. It's time to head home, head to an after work event, make dinner, take the kids somewhere, right? Whatever that is in your life. The other side of this would be the days where you look at the clock and it's time to go for all those reasons. And you're like, what did I do today? I just don't know. I feel like I was constantly interrupted. I couldn't focus. Um, I'm just spinning my wheels, couldn't get my thoughts together. And now tomorrow seems a lot more stressful. And we clearly want that first day. And there are things we can do to help ourselves along the way as we manage towards those. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we dig into just a few things, I want to ask you, what's your why? Why are you here? Maybe you have some things you need to work on related to time management. Maybe you do want that less stressful day or week, and you think this can help. Maybe you long for that feeling of accomplishment at the end of the day. Could be a combination of those things. And maybe you've made great strides in this area, but you just need some reminders and maybe looking for an additional tool or idea to support you. So write down for yourself or think for yourself, what's your why? The reason I ask this is because as we build habits and as we work on our skills, it helps to go back to our why. When we stumble and we don't get it quite right, or things get hard and we lose focus, going back to that why do I want to focus on this, and this applies to any goal or skill. It can keep us motivated and grounded and remind us, yes, this is worth it. There are bigger picture things ahead. So as we tackle hopefully your why today, at least in small part in 30 minutes, here's my plan. We're going to talk about tracking time, but also the tasks you have to do and how we understand them, especially in the realm of importance and urgency. We're going to bust a myth or two and give you some tips that can help you maximize your time. And then I want you to walk away with a next step for yourself. As we manage our days, and even this time together, notice that I started with a plan. I have a plan for the webinar to help you in managing your days, and you can do the same. Maybe you tie your plan to big goals. What do you want to accomplish? And sometimes those are set for us at work, but other areas of our life, we have these goals too. And we also know we have responsibilities, those things that are required of us on all realms. And so you add your goals to what do I need to accomplish? You put the time frame around it, it can vary, but that's what you work towards. You have a plan. Notice I didn't say just get busy, right? Get to work. That's important, but what are we working toward? Because can we agree that busyness is a badge of honor in our society? Like, I'm just so busy. How are you doing? I'm busy. And while that may be true, I think there's a better way. What if we work toward being effective and getting results that matter and not just being busy? When I'm just busy, am I getting work done that is truly important, that helps me reach that goal, that helps me really stay grounded in my true responsibilities? Or am I just getting a lot of work done? And so you're going to hear me talk about important more than once today as we focus on those things. Let's think about this idea for a minute. Time management is a misnomer. The challenge is to manage ourselves. I love this quote by Stephen R. Covey because we all have the same amount of time. What choices are we making within that window? And that can make a significant difference in how our days end up. Am I truly working on what's important? The things that move the needle, that help us get results, that meet our goal, or am I just busy? Now, in order to maybe get a handle on that, I believe it's important to think about our current state. So, what are we actually doing? And to figure this out, we need to track our time. And so, I think it's a great practice to, over a course of a week, document what I'm doing from my morning routine, which might include exercise or reading or just some quiet time with my coffee, to my time getting ready, heading out the door, or if I work from home, that might mean heading across the hall to my home office, right? It's all the work I have to do, the conversations I have at work, the tasks outside of work. Where am I spending my time? And so I want to give you a jump start on this. It's Monday at 11 o'clock. We've barely gotten our week started. So I want you to grab a piece of paper, or if you want, pull up Excel. That's the picture I have here. I love Microsoft Excel. Word document, whatever works for you. And we're going to take a minute or so, and I want you to write down everything you've done today. And if you can, in this short amount of time, write down how much time you spent on it. If you like to use specific time frames, that's fine. If you want to just say it was 15 minutes, that's fine too. But I'm going to give you a minute. Go ahead and do that. A minute's not really a long time, so you may have some more documentation to do, but this is a start. And now I encourage you for the week, take a look at how you're spending your time. You might be surprised in how much time you spend scrolling on your phone, uh, handling things that maybe could have waited until next week, things like that. And you might think, oh, I don't know, this seems like a waste of time. It's pretty tedious. I'll admit it can be tedious, but more than once in my career, I've gotten the advice slow down to speed up. Take the time now, get a handle on how you're using your time so that you can go faster later because you can make better decisions. You have data to work off of, not just assumptions. One thing I would encourage is you take a look at your week after time tracking the time. Make some notes for yourself. That's why I include a notes column here. Um, Note if it was a good use of time or why it happened, and maybe this isn't normal this week, or how do I get this time frame to be shorter, right? Whatever's going to be helpful for you to make some decisions moving forward. So that's like real current state, how we're using our time. I want us to flip then to what do we have to get done? Okay, so now more forward thinking. What's on your to-do list? Do you love a good to-do list? I do. One, because I feel like if I don't write things down and keep track of it, I'm going to forget something that I shouldn't. And that can be problematic for me and others. But I also really love checking things off, crossing it off the list when I get it done. It feels good. And it says, wow, I made good progress. And that propels me forward to keep going. So I love it. I hope you do too. I have a very short example here. This is not a complete framework here, but I'm going to talk through why the two columns you see on your screen are represented. You can use whatever's helpful. If you like to still write things down on paper, that's great. If you like Outlook tasks, this again is from Excel because I love to be able to sort and move things around by deadline. You do what works for you. But when we have our to-do list, I want us to identify all the tasks we have to get done. That's the activity, right? And maybe it's the responsibilities you have, work you need to get done this week, or in the near future, meetings that are on the schedule, or people you know you need to have a conversation with to be able to move things forward. Some of these things truly are tasks. They're very small, and you might put a large piece of work, maybe a project on your to-do list. And then we need to break that down into smaller chunks so that we can identify what we can do now versus later. You'll notice on this one that I have a purpose or goal column. And I don't use this on a consistent basis, but as we talk about our time, I think it's helpful to think about, why am I doing this? Is it tied to a bigger goal at work that we're working towards, or a personal goal I have? Is it, what's the bigger purpose behind it? Because that can help us identify where it needs to fall in our priority level. And so I keep track of these things. It's a revolving door, right, as we get things done, but it gives us our starting point. The problem with to-do lists is that if you're like me, it just comes out of your mind and onto a document, not in the best order, right? It's a free flow of thoughts. What do I have to get done? And that's probably not the order we want to tackle it in. And there are a variety of steps we can take, but one of which that I want us to think about is understanding the urgency and the importance of the work. This is called the Eisenhower matrix because President Eisenhower is said to have used this to think about his work. But it's also talked about in the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And really, it's a way for us to rank, if you will, everything we do based on urgency and importance. So here in quadrant 1, you can see that work is urgent and important. I call that the fires. It's the emergencies. And sometimes in life, it truly is an emergency and must be dealt with, right? But how many of those are human made, right? Like, I procrastinated, or there's too many deadlines hitting at once, or this popped up out of nowhere and no one saw it coming and it needs to be dealt with right now. Or it's the angry customer or employee who needs your attention right now. Or if you have kids that are back in school, it's the moment where they tell you they have a project due tomorrow and it's 7 p.m. and no one has thought about it yet. Those are quadrant 1 items. They need to be dealt with. It has to be handled because it's urgent. Quadrant 2, not urgent and important. I label this results, and that doesn't mean we're not getting results out of quadrant 1, but this is where we get to schedule the work for the bigger items. It's around the goals. Maybe it's around mission and values at your organization. Maybe it's about relationships and taking care of your well-being. It's longer term. It requires collaboration and creativity. And if it was short term, we'd be kicked over into quadrant 1. So we have some time for these things in quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 is urgent and not important. I call this someone else's priorities. It elevates to you quickly because someone needs it now, but maybe you hadn't planned on it and it's not in your priority list. Maybe these are the interruptions that come your way. It's the meeting that we have every week because we've done it for 10 years, but we never really get anything done. How do we handle our quadrant 3 items? And then quadrant 4, not urgent and not important. And I label it wasted time. And some of it's not, right? Some of it we do have to do. It just doesn't rise into the other quadrants. And those items can be delayed in my estimation. But sometimes if we're honest, we are wasting time, right? Maybe it's just busy work. Maybe it's I don't want to start this new thing until tomorrow, so I'll do this instead. It's out of avoidance or pulling away. Sometimes for me, it's organizing my email inbox when right now, probably not where I should be spending my time. So we have all of these ways to address our work, and everything we do fits into one of these quadrants. Where do you spend most of your time? This is an exercise we do in our longer trainings where we talk about this. And, a lot of people land in quadrants 1 or 3, or they think they do. And I often hear from leaders, especially, all I do is fight fires. They're in quadrant 1 all day. They're just trying to survive when they know they should be helping their employees improve their work, working on budgets, focusing on strategies for the next quarter or the next year, whatever that might be, right? And if we're in quadrant 3, maybe we're treating our emails like an instant message and responding right away, when in fact we could maybe schedule time to do that, right? We want to live in quadrant 2. So then we have to take steps to get there to be able to accomplish that. There are other ways that we can prioritize. And to be able to use our time well today, we're not going to talk about them. Instead, I want us to flip to a different idea. And I want you to think about when you are most focused. Everyone has a period of 2 to 4 hours throughout their day when they are most focused and productive. Maybe for you, it's first thing in the morning and you just want to attack the work right then. For me, it's usually like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And so doing something like this is perfect at 11 because this is when I'm at my best. I don't want to just be responding to emails right now. That's not good use of my energy and focus. For some, it's late at night, right? So when is it? It's called our Einstein window. And truly, it's not a window, right? It's a window of time. But when you know what that time frame is, you'll do what you can to protect it. Now, let's be honest, we don't have full control over our days, right? People put meetings on our calendars and this has to happen at 11 p.m. when really I'm best at 8. But we do what we can to protect that window so that I pick out of my to-do list and out of my quadrants what I need to be the most focused on, and I dive in, right? Now, if you don't know, here's another tracking opportunity for you. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, every hour, note how much energy and focus you had, low, medium, high. And then at the end of the week, do some analysis. When were you at your best? That's your Einstein window. We've spent most of our time together talking about what we do in reality, current state, what's on our to-do list, and how to maybe categorize that and tackle it, just in short form. I want to switch for the rest of our time and talk about some myths and using some tips that can help you manage your days better. And so we're going to start here. Multitasking. Kindly, I say to you, let's stop saying we are good at multitasking and let's stop saying we want others to be good multitaskers, because multitasking is a myth. Our brains are amazing, but they cannot do two cognitive tasks at the same time. Really, what we're doing is we're switching from task to task. Now, you might switch and go back pretty quickly, and it feels like we're doing two things at once, but cognitively, that's not what's happening. We also think we are saving time when we do this. That's why we multitask done, right? Trying to get more done at once. That's a myth too. When I learned about this, it was been at least a decade now. Um, I was told that if I'm super focused at work, I switch over to something else and then come back to what I was focusing on, it takes 7 to 10 minutes to regain the focus I had. Newer research says that it takes 23 minutes to regain that level of focus. That's more than a third of an hour, right? To regain the focus you had. Not to mention, you think about how many times we switch tasks throughout the day, we're actually losing time, not gaining it. And then when we switch tasks and we're trying to manage more than one thing at a time, there's more of an opportunity for errors as well. So our quality of work actually goes down. Instead of multitasking, let's stop and focus. Pay attention to one task. Maybe you need to set a timer. There's a technique for that where you say 20 minutes, I'm going to focus. And then in another 20 minutes, if I want to stay focused on that, great, or I can move to something else. For me, 20 minutes tends to be a little short. So I let my smartwatch here say, hey, you haven't stood in a while. It's time to get up. Another way to do it, though, is if that doesn't even work for you or you don't like that method, make sure your work segments are no more than 90 minutes. We know that we have to take a break, get ourselves refreshed, get some movement. 90 minutes or less for your work segments, but stay focused. The next piece goes right into our focus problem. It's our distractions. And we will talk about real distractions we face in a longer training session. But we know that it comes from all areas. And one of the biggest distractions we have right now is technology. Right? Technology is great until it's not. You see, I have this smartwatch now. I'm not a fast adopter, but when my husband got his newest version of his Apple Watch, I inherited his. And I told him to set mine up, didn't think much about it. The problem was he set it up just like he has his, where every notification that goes to his phone goes through the watch as well. So I went to work wearing my Apple Watch and my wrist buzzed all day. And I came home and I said, fix it. I want my text messages, phone calls, calendar reminders, weather alerts, and the Chicago Cubs score, because let's be honest, I have priorities. But when he eliminated all of those other notifications hitting my watch, I was so much more focused and honestly happier at the end of the day. I didn't need the distraction. The phone, right? We have it nearby all the time. It lights up when a notification comes through, or you can hear the vibration even when it's on silent. It's distracting. Some people may want to turn all the notifications off. I actually like having them there so I can quickly scroll through when it's time and see what I've missed, see what I need to look into in a hurry. But put it out of sight. Get it out of noise range even when you need to focus. Those are some newer technology issues we have, but email has been a distraction for a long time. Did you know that the little pop-up that previews your messages in Outlook can be shut off? And the little icon, that the envelope that shows up in the bottom right corner, turn it off. You can turn those things down so it doesn't pull your eyes and distract you when it comes in. If we're doing that though, and we start treating email differently, we probably need to tell our coworkers that, right? If they're used to you responding very quickly to them and suddenly you're like, nope, I'm going to check my email and answer emails 3 times a day so I can focus on other tasks, let them know that. And this is a, if you can conversation, right? Some of us truly are on email, truly do need to have our phones there based on the requirements of our job, but some of us don't have to operate that way. So if you can control those distractions, I encourage you to do that. Last up here, procrastination. 20 to 25% of us procrastinate. On the one hand, it's like, well, I'm not alone, so that's good, right? On the opposite side, it's not helpful. And maybe you're like me, where I've been the person who is like, deadline's coming, back's against the wall, I'm gonna knock this out. And you know what? That turned out really well. And I hit the deadline. And that encourages me to keep doing that, right? That behavior hasn't gotten me in trouble yet. But procrastination actually has really detrimental side effects. That added stress is not helpful in the long run. A one off, okay. But when we continually do that, it's actually harder on us and our well being. Not to mention the fact that we are pushing work into quadrant one when really we want to live in quadrant two. And when I'm dealing with quadrant one items, it's urgent and important right now. What if the person I have to get that work to is now in quadrant one? Right? If I want to eliminate those items for me, I should help others stay out of quadrant one as well. So we have to get to the root cause of why we're procrastinating, but no, it is not the best way long term. Those are your busted myths. Don't procrastinate or don't multitask. Don't procrastinate either. But eliminate those distractions, eliminate the procrastination. My final tip to manage your days is to take a break. I have failed at this time and again in my career because I've got work to do. There's more on the to-do list. I'm running out of time. And some days it's okay to keep powering through. If I'm in that groove, like I talked about when we started, and I'm really hitting on all cylinders, let's keep going. Let's get this done. But if I'm sluggish, I'm mentally not as focused, I'm not working quickly anymore, I'm actually losing productivity, take the break, right? Get some movement, find a place to stretch, drink some water, do what brings you some energy and enjoyment. right? For me, that's represented on the screen here. I'm there with Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell. I love my Cyclones, love my Cubs, need to check up on the scores. What's going on, right? And then we have a small zoo of 6 pets running around our house. So sometimes my break is doing something with them, but it gets me away from my screen. It gets me away from the task at hand so that I can come back more refreshed, and that's better in the long run. It's been a hard lesson for me to learn, but it's worth it. So take the break. 5 minutes at a time, take the break. We've covered just a few things. There are more strategies and tips that we would go through if we had more time, but I want to leave you with a quote you've maybe heard. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That's true in any area that we want to improve in our life, and that counts our time as well. So as we close, I want to ask you, what will you do to manage your days better? Think about that. Make a note. What will you commit to just based off of today to manage your day better? Know that the work takes time, right? It won't go perfectly right out of the gate. Keep reminding yourself what you want to focus on and why. And know that there are people there to support you. Eastern Iowa Community College and I are two examples of that. Love to see you at a full training, and there are other opportunities to get support as well. So I appreciate you being here with me today. Today, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And I know there were definitely some good reminders for myself that I will be using today and this week. I love your ending photo too. It just makes me want to go take a walk now.
Yeah, it's
Um,
almost fall too, right? Like,
yeah, ready to pull out those hoodies.
yeah.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. We will, for those of you interested in the recording, we will be sending out a link afterwards. And I thank you very much for your time today. Have a great day.
Thanks.